Hello Scorpio friends, I'm Annie Botticelli and welcome to my Scorpio August 2022 Astrology Must-Knows Horoscope Forecast. Definitely go to anniehelpsyou.com. That is the interface for all the free goodies I make for you each month to help you make the most of the starry possibilities. And I'm very excited to announce that finally, based on your requests for me, to create a special private community with extra content that I make on the natal chart, on the current transits and upcoming transits. So you can go to anniebastrology.com to find my new subscription option for extra exclusive content. So this is for you if Scorpio is your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, or any other Scorpio placement that you watch for. What we're going to talk about here will be part of your astrological picture. And if you are a late degree, especially a very late degree Scorpio, so we'll say November 13th through the rest of the sign, or 23 degrees through the rest of the sign, then I also recommend you listen to my Sagittarius report because you very late degree friends will have a more complex read and will benefit from both the Scorpio and Sag reports. So, what is going on in August? We're going to take it piece by piece for the must-knows. The first big must-know is that we are in the last month of a breather between the eclipse seasons. This has special significance for Scorpio since we are in the midst of a Scorpio-Taurus eclipse cycle. So many Scorpios are getting rocked with life-changing opportunities for the better and also having to say goodbye to things that you might not want to. And so it's been very, very intense, a lot of drama. And we are sort of in a breather here. Not to say that things can't happen along the lines of the eclipse, because they can. And actually, there is an aspect that might bring some activation of those storylines. But in general, that anxiety of the eclipse season, we are still in a breather here. So that's something to celebrate. We are also in the last month before this Mars retrograde energies start. Mars retrograde is also of special significance to Scorpios because it is one of your rulers. So whenever one of our rulers goes retrograde, we really feel it. And it takes on extra special significance in our process, in our lives. And so you will be noticing that. I will dive deep into the energies of Mars retrograde and go over what are the things we really want to do when Mars is still direct in August towards the end of the report. But I just wanted to mention it here right at the beginning that August is this, not that it won't have its own intensity. It will, and we'll talk about those things. It's still just this sort of little kind of bubble in between the more intense energies of the year from the eclipse perspective and from the Mars retrograde perspective. So that is something to celebrate. The next big must know is that we are in the last open window of the personal planets being direct. Personal planets, so I'm talking about here, are Mercury, Venus, and Mars. When one or more of those planets is in retrograde, we have this energy of inward and backward and going over old things and short-term things and things being cast into question. And we are going to have a dominance of that energy from September through the rest of the year and actually even into March of 2023. But August, we have the first 3 weeks that are completely clear of the personal planet retrogrades, the shadow periods, and so this is the direct time to take action. This is a time for big actions. So big moves, big decisions, big launches, anything that you want to have a lot of oomph, a lot of energy behind it, that you want other people's energy to be higher. Because as Mars goes into retrograde, everybody starts to get a little lazier for the most part. And so if you need someone's energy for a project, you're going to have more of that strength in the month of August. So collaborative projects, having people help you with things where they have to do something and you have to kind of be at their mercy. This is definitely a month you want to take action in those kind of things. And anything, like I said, that you want to go far and wide. Just imagine tides going out. So when we've got the personal planets direct, as we do from June 19th through August 21st, the last open such window of the whole year, it's the time when anything you want the support of the tide to bring out to sea far and wide, those are the kind of things you want to do. Weddings, engagements, big financial decisions, big purchases. And there are a lot of extra reasons why, if you've been having a big purchase pending, why maybe pushing it into August, if it's in the flow for you, might be a good idea. Because it's this last open period. Okay, so we want to take advantage of that. And when the retrograde energies start, that's going to be like the tides coming in. And if you try to set a boat afloat when the tides are coming in, you're going to paddle against the tides. It will be more of a time to stay on shore, fix up your boat, see what the tides bring you. And the tides can bring lots of good things. The retrogrades have beautiful attributes, but they're just not the type of oomph and energy and launch and pushing out and making things happen and, more clear plans and clarity about direction and all of that stuff you'll have in the first 3 weeks of August. So take full advantage of it because it will change. Okay, so another big must know is that we still have Leo planets that are dominating this month. We were talking about this in the July report as well when this started, and now this continues. So for Scorpios, Leo planets put some pressure on. They make a 90-degree angle. Now, I've always been trying to help you have the perspective that even these challenged angles are nothing to fear, and in many ways things to embrace and be excited about, because specifically here, this is a fire aspect, and it's adding water underneath your watery, or adding fire underneath your watery pot. So if you need motivation, if you need ambition, if you need energy, if you need support, if you need action, it's perfect because the Leo planets are coming to offer that to you. And it's the perfect time to take the actions. So, I see it as a very good thing, but things with your work are probably going to need attention. Your career, if you're someone that is wanting a raise or a change in job or recognition or to start a business or to expand a business, you definitely have a ton of support, but it looks like you are going to have to do some work or there's some pressure involved in making that happen. It might be that you are listening to my advice and pushing something out and you're working really hard to do that, and that's where the tension is coming from, and then you can kind of coast and just sit on the beach and see what the tides bring in as the retrogrades come after you do all this work. Now, there is something very specific about father or paternal energies that tends to come up with the 10th house. As I've spoken about before, historically the 10th house relates to father, but there have been many blendings of gender roles over history, and no more than especially in this time. But even something like a strong single mom, and I know there are a lot of you out there, I've been one in my past before, and I had a single mom for a time as well, and she showed up in my 10th house. And so, somebody that kind of has to take on the discipline role, has to, take on what we might have historically thought of as paternal roles, energetically in the chart will show up here. So someone that has that energy for you, or you taking that role more in your life, or authority or bosses or things like that, are definitely going to be coming up as opportunities to work with. They might come up as issues to heal or conflicts to get through, or work that you have to do to assert yourself in that space. But there's definitely something having to do with those energies. You could have a great healing with a father or a father figure, or a paternal figure, or an authority figure, something like that at this time, but it will be work that you do that gets to the healing. Okay, so the Leo energies in general bring the option for, or opportunities for, a lot of fun and hobbies and creative expression and things involving children and even family. So you might find that you're having a lot of fun with your kids, or doing a project involving children, or doing something that makes you feel like a kid again, or going back to a place that feels like home with family. It's a really wonderful time to just have fun, and also to apply your creativity to your work. And always remember, if you are a person who is retired or independently wealthy and you don't have to work for money, this house can still mean a passion project, something that you're doing with your life, learning and to help others or to bring out into the world. It's a way that you show up in the world, and it may or may not necessarily be connected to vocation or income. Okay, so you might be asking those questions. What do you want to do with your life? Are you happy with your job? Are you creating yourself, or expressing yourself creatively? Those types of things are going to come up now, and it may be a very prolifically productive time creatively. So if you're going to be traveling, bring your guitar, or whatever your medium for expression is there, because you'll probably have lots of opportunities to to express yourself artistically. And this flows into the energies of Virgo, because very soon in the month, Mercury will start to get into Virgo. Later, the Sun will get there. And for Scorpios, this lights up your house of friends and acquaintances and social groups. And so you might find that you are at a drum circle with your friends, or that you're reconnecting, with old friends, or meeting new friends. And so, the odds of having a busy social schedule in this month are very high for Scorpios. And, it looks like there might be some chances to really have a really great time. So I'm excited about that for you. That's a big must know. Okay, so as the planets move into Virgo, those make a much nicer aspect for you, okay? So you've got the pressures of the Leo energies, but then you've got the kisses from the Virgo energies, and that can mean you are finally getting disciplined with putting your creative efforts into practice, or you're making headway on a creative project, or you get a job role where you can use your creativity more, or you're starting a side business that's a hobby business and a passion project that starts maybe earning money. And whenever you have the 11th house lit up like this, as it will be now and as it will progress even into September, this is going to be really great for other people helping you with something and you combining as part of a group. The feeling of belonging to a group that is like-minded with efforts and passions that you also have is something that is, very related to the energies that are lighting up here. So, and this could be online, this could be in person, but it looks like, networking and connecting with others is going to bring great possibilities, both for you to support others, and I'd be excited to do that, and also for you to get support that you need and want. So if someone is trying to set you up, if you're single and you're trying to be, someone wants to set you up on a date, this is a great time for that. If you have somebody saying, hey, I need to connect you with my friend, they can help you with this, your website or whatever it is, then this is a really great time to do that. And the first 3 weeks of the month really lend themselves especially to new interactions, new people. And not to say that you can't meet anyone new after that, but there's a leaning towards the past as we start to get towards the end of August, where, you might find that going back to old contacts, or, doing things that you did before with people you did before might benefit you more. But so, the month is a hybrid month in that way. Okay, so the next big must know is that Venus is still in the water sign of Cancer. That is also giving you a big kiss. This can be lighting up possibilities for your international business, learning languages, teaching, learning. You might get really hot on or really have good luck finding a school program or education program for yourself or for your kids that works really well. You might find that you're traveling internationally, or that you're making plans to travel internationally, or you might have just gotten back from traveling internationally in July, because this is also, fired up at that time. And the chance to earn money through education or through travel or through international business is all also very wide open for Scorpios at this time, with these kisses in the form of a trine that Venus is making for all the Scorpio placements. So between July and August, all the Scorpio placements will get kisses from Venus. So that's exciting and a big must know. Okay, so the next big must know, let's see what we want to talk about here, is we do have the Virgo New Moon on August 27th. And that, as I spoke about before, is in a nice angle for you. So everyone is going to get the potential goodies from that in the areas of the friendships, the social circles, feeling, like connected to your tribe, even, internet-based business, humanitarian efforts, community projects. Everyone will have that potential in the last, part of the month. But those of you who are in the early degree designation, so October born friends, and the closer to the 4 degrees you are, the more you'll get a kiss from that new moon at the end of the month. Okay, so the next big must know, let's see where we want to go with this. Okay, this is something I was alluding to before. So you've had Mars, well, we've all had Mars moving through Taurus, and that has been making an opposition for you, okay? So that has been meaning you're either at odds with or getting on the same page with and really working hard with other people on a project. Maybe you and your spouse are getting on the same page and uniting to solve a family problem. Maybe you are working with an affiliate to develop your business. Maybe you have someone at work that you are partnered with that you're making progress with. Maybe, something is going on with a friendship or a close relationship, personal or professional. Mars is sort of bringing this obsessiveness or relentless focus on your relationship space, relationships of every kind. And you'll find that you're very, very, very motivated to find solutions in those areas. And that is a really good idea, because if you have a conflict with somebody, especially if it's going to require legal action, Mars retrograde is not a great time to start legal action. So if you are leaning towards needing to do something like that, or arbitration or things like that, August is one of the better months of the whole year for things like that. So hopefully you can get things resolved, but if you can't and you feel like you need to move forward, this actually would be a better time compared to the time to come from the perspective of Mars. Something else going on is that the planet Uranus is making a conjunction with the transiting North Node and opposing the transiting South Node. Okay, so what the heck did I just say? So let's just layer it out here. North Node is our area of highest expression in this lifetime. It's our dharma. It's what we came here to do, the things we came here to do. And its opposing force, the South Node point, is our karma. It's what we came in with, for better and worse. Gifts that we came in with, blessings, things that we worked hard, maybe in previous lives or other people in our ancestry did, and we benefited from it, or however it works. Or just God gave us these gifts and we were born with them. Whatever your belief system is, this works. But we came in with certain things, for better or worse, and that's the South Node energy. So we've got Uranus. So whenever any planet aspects this polarity, it's activating both of these things. And this takes on special significance for Scorpios, because where the North and South Node are also the places where on the ecliptic, where the eclipses are happening in the eclipse cycle. Okay, so when I talked about before that we're kind of in a breather here from the actual eclipse season, that is true. But it is very important to note that at the end of July and for the first 10-ish or so days, and it will linger even further into August, there's a major activation that is going on for you to clear karma and to step into your highest expression. Okay, now this is true for everybody because this is a global experience, but it's even more true for Scorpio and Taurus people, because this Uranus is sitting at the North Node point, which is at Taurus, but it's making a 180-degree angle for you all. Okay, so you're like having the lightning strike of karma clearing and activation. So this is, if you're trying to figure out your purpose, trying to make headway, trying to have breakthroughs, this is a transit that is very exciting. But we also have to note that Mars is right there. So yes, that can make you have an insight and make you be able to take action on it. And I'm hoping that's how it manifests for the majority of people. But because Mars is the god of war and Uranus can bring jostles, that aren't always pleasant, just kind of be aware that there's this energy that's like an activator, but an aggressor, but, that there might be some conflicts, but those conflicts might be necessary to you seeing patterns and taking action to clear things up. And hopefully that jostling won't be unpleasant, but there is a chance that it could be, and it is important to note that. And all of that, of course, is taking place in your me-we sector. You and someone else. You and your relationship with other people, period. Your stuff, other people's stuff, what that looks like. Kind of the shuffling around and the jostling around of all of that energy is going to be very, very active at this time. Okay, so the next big must know is that we have an aspect that is wonderful that I really want to talk about. Now, before I get there, I just want to remind you, if you're not familiar with my work, that if you want a write-up of all the sweet and salty aspects, what you may expect from them, and the dates delivered into your inbox 1 month early for your planning purposes, then go to anniehelpsyou.com and sign up for my free email newsletter. I only send out a few newsletters each month, and they're all content rich with things that I've created and some of my team members have created, mostly my stuff, but I also have other things sprinkled in from my team to support you with whatever the heck is going on at that time. So the newsletters are very informative, so you're not going to get spammed, is the point. But we're talking about a couple of the aspects here. But if you want the complete list, then go there for that. Okay, so now let's talk about this beautiful aspect. In the days around August 22nd, Mercury in Virgo is going to make a beautiful trine with Pluto in Capricorn. Okay, remember, trine is the most favorable aspect in all of astrology. It's the transcendence point. It's the point where goodies can come in without you having done anything. But if you have done something, you can receive goodies from past work, from present work. It's, it's just really, really magical. And Mercury is involved, so this can be information, this could be research, this could be news. Virgo is involved, so things that are detail-oriented, work that you've put in, something that you might have been getting organized to try to process, or maybe you are going to have energy towards getting something done that you've been meaning to get done. And Pluto, which is of course your ruler, in Capricorn, and this is earth, material, manifestation. So we'll say like the 18th through the 26th, most hot around the 22nd. There's this beautiful trine that's sitting there just waiting for you to do something with it or not. Things can just flow into your lap from this beautiful aspect in the form of support, certainty. Even though I've been saying that the energies until the 21st are super clear because we're out of the personal planet retrogrades, this aspect is so powerful that if you're like launching something or getting something going on the 22nd, you're going to have this energy programmed into it and still be in pretty clear energy. So if you're finding that you're wanting something to gel and it's starting to gel at that point, that could be a good launch point for you. Now that is goodies for everybody, especially goodies for people with earth and even water. But those of you who are in the late degree placements, so we'll say 21 degrees through the rest of the sign. So that's basically the same people who I recommended you also listen to my Sag reports. So we'll say November 11th through the rest of the sign. And the closer to like November 16th, the more kisses. Okay, so November 11th through the rest of the sign, get even bigger kisses from this aspect, and then the closer you are to the 16th, the more powerful that might be. So that's very important to note. Okay, so the last must know has to do with Mars retrograde, and we are going to do a deep dive into this. I have a special segment where I'm going to show you what the kinds of things to do during Mars direct are, because we've got that in August, and then what the kinds of things you're going to want to be doing September onward for the retrograde energies to just kind of place your activities so you have it for your planning purposes. But I want to talk a little bit about some Scorpio specific things first. As I mentioned before, Mars is one of your rulers. When one of our rulers goes retrograde, it's very, very powerful, and it can be for better or worse. So let's talk about the positive things first, okay? Positive things from this, it can give you a break from your obsessive nature or help you to better direct your obsessive nature productively and in a healthy way. Now, it's no secret that Scorpio has profound powers of concentration by hyper-focusing in a monofocused sort of way, right? Okay, this is a gift that you have. Sometimes it can feel like a curse. Sometimes it can be intense for people around you, to be witnessing this or be a part of this, but it can be quite amazing, especially if you can use it in a healthy way. So when Mars is going retrograde, it actually gives a chance to lighten that up for you. And I know this personally, not just professionally, because I have Aries rising, so I'm ruled by Mars as well. And I notice that when Mars goes into retrograde, I get kind of lazy. And I am not a lazy person by any stretch. No one could ever use that word to describe me. I'm, very hard worker, and I'm always doing something, a million things. But as soon as Mars goes into retrograde, I'm like, I don't really want to do anything extra. My ambitions start to wane, which is strange for me. And if I didn't know any better, I would think I was going through a crisis, like what's happening to me? So I'm mentioning that because you might find the same thing. In some cases, your ambitions might just decrease, that you might become more relaxed. You might be less obsessive. You might be able to apply your tendency to obsess in a nice, healthy, productive way. You might make headway on anything that's dysfunctional about that. You might be able to get more clarity on what you are going to focus on because you're focusing on less And so you might kind of get streamlined to say, okay, I'm just going to casually work on this. And it could be really, really fun. I've come to really love Mars retrograde and really actually look forward to it. So, you've got that to look forward to, but that makes August even more important, because if you know you might get lazy and you know your ambitions might wane, there might be things that you might pull through this summer or winter for you all down under, knowing that you're kind of going to get into relaxation mode and, take your foot off the gas a bit. Now, as far as the challenging side of the retrograde, Mars rules war, aggression, anger, and that sort of, anger that is brought by having Mars as a ruler. And I'm not saying that all Scorpios or Aries are angry people. Obviously, as I've told you, I'm an Aries. My husband is a Scorpio. I have an Aries rising. My husband is a Scorpio. And we're not just by nature being mad and angry all the time. And I know that that's not necessarily, the way that we are. However, I do also know that there is something to this fact of having the god of war be a partial ruler. There's an agitation, there's an undercurrent. For Scorpios, it tends to be like a seething kind of internal holding things in and then bursting, sort of letting things go, and then bursting. But however it works, it is something. And whatever that is that's unresolved often comes up in the Mars retrograde. So if you can be proactive and schedule inner work for yourself, counseling, and I've talked about this before and I have to bring it back around again, and we will be talking about it as we go into the horoscopes for the times when it's retrograde. A lot of times the livers and gallbladders of the people who are working with these anger outbursts or this, passive aggressive energy or something that may come up, we actually need support for our liver and gallbladder. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm not diagnosing. I'm not making a certain suggestion per se. What I'm saying is that even medical tests might not detect stress on your liver. There are ways that your liver and gallbladder could be stressed that don't come up on your blood work. But sometimes it can, but sometimes it doesn't. There's an energetic to this. So if you look up ways to love your liver, talk to your doctor about what things are appropriate for you, give your gallbladder a break by maybe eating less fat, this kind of thing, it might actually help you to resolve some of your anger issues, because if your liver and your gallbladder are overburdened, it sometimes creates the experience of being angry because there's congestion in that energetic part that relates to anger and resentment. Okay, so this will come up more, but I just wanted to mention it now. Okay, the last must know about Mars retrograde before we dive into the direct versus retro list is that Mars is going retrograde from 25 degrees back to 8 degrees in Gemini. And for you all, that is actually in your house of Scorpio. Okay, so Scorpio has Gemini in their 8th house, and the 8th house is the house of Scorpio. So this means that the Mars retrograde is going to bring up a lot of familial topics, a lot of ancestral topics, a lot of psychological topics, things having to do with money psychology, your finances versus other people, your sustainability versus, your partnership, your family money, your inheritances, your estate planning, all of those kinds of things, and healing and, really diving deep into spiritual, esoteric, parapsychological, psychological topics might be a good use of this energy, because you could get down to finding a lot of important information that could make everything much easier for you from now on. Okay, so now let's dive deep into this comparison of the Mars direct and retrograde. We'll talk about the dates of the shadow periods and the retrogrades. So let's do that now. Okay, so I'm recording this for you to help you better understand the Mars retrograde energies, to look at the dates that this full cycle will be relevant for, and to talk about the types of activities we want to align when Mars is direct versus when Mars is retrograde, and give you timelines for that so that you have the notice now that you can try to align your actions with being in sync with Mars. That's what I try to focus on, is to help you align with the natural rhythms of the universe, because when we go with the rhythms, it's much easier and much more enjoyable than if we try to push against them. So the more you know about how the rhythms work, the more you can align naturally with them. Okay, so Mars goes retrograde every 2.2 or so years, just to give you a little context. If you think back to around 2 years and 2 months ago, we were in a Mars retrograde cycle. And you can actually look up a Mars retrograde calendar of the past online and look at the times when Mars was in retrograde, just for your research to try to understand the types of energies that you experienced. And I always highly recommend writing in a journal the types of things that come up, especially as I'm helping you get educated on what Mars represents. If you pay attention to the kind of things that come up in Mars retrograde in general and for you personally, then you have your own private plan of how you're going to work with those energies, okay? So the pre-transit shadow period starts September 4th, okay? These shadow periods are very important to note, especially when we have planets that take longer. I mean, really, for any planet, the shadow period is relevant, but the longer the planet takes to do its, full orbit, the longer that pre and post shadow transit are going to be. So in these shadow periods, you start seeing a building of the types of retrograde things that we see, and the energies get stronger and stronger from the beginning of the shadow period, which is September 4th, through October 30th, which is when the actual retrograde is. But if you try to play the game, should I hurry up and do my launch or my big important thing, October 17th, because it's not quite retrograde, you're playing a dangerous game, because, you're in the shadow period, and the more you tune in, the more you'll see how these energies are present even before the actual retrograde occurs. So we're talking about September 4th through October 30th, a building of the retrograde energies, October 30th through January 18th, 2023 for the actual retrograde, and then a starting to lighten with every day we get past January 18th and move towards March 15th of 2023. Those energies are lightening every day. So, if you have to do something and it's not quite March 15th, at least the energies are much stronger and better than, let's say, if you tried to do something, with a Mars direct type of energy, right after the retrograde ended. So we're talking about Mars going retrograde from 25 degrees of Gemini back to 8 degrees of Gemini. Okay, so now let's talk about, just focus on, well, I guess we'll just leave it there. That's fine. Okay, so through September 3rd, so that means all of August, okay, which is the month right before the energies really start to brew for retrograde, we're really focusing on this new forward movement, tide going out, anything that you want to go longer term, any major launch that you want to have a good, nice birth date. Remember, anytime you do something major, it's a birth date for that activity, and it will carry all the energies of that time. Anything that requires all the things that Mars rules, oomph, get up and go, initiation, energy levels, ambition, initiative, follow through, any of these things. If you have a project that's going to require that type of energy, yours or other people, like you need other people to show up or to collaborate with on a project, you're not the only one that's going to be feeling the retrograde energies. They also will be. So if you're trying to initiate a project that needs other people to show up with their energy and ambition and follow through, then August, up until August, so really, June 19 through all of August is like this really nice open period for all of the personal planet retrogrades. But as far as Mars is going here, anything up until through the end of August and the first couple of days of September, you're going to have a lot more energy for these types of things. Now, the aspect of Mars ruling metal also comes into play. So if you have to purchase anything made of metal, cars, devices, machinery of any kind, major lawn mowing equipment, the direct time is a great time to get the best, focus on anything with metal. And this also has to do with surgeries. Now, please hear me. Just because I'm saying try to, know that there's more energy from the perspective of Mars transits supporting surgeries, whether they're voluntary or necessary, when you've got the direct time. If you're in the retrograde and you have to have a life-saving surgery, don't worry about it. You need that and you have to do it, so don't hesitate to do something that the doctor says will be curative or that you need to prevent a bigger problem. But just to kind of have a guideline. If you know you're going to need a surgery, you'll have better support for that from the Mars perspective, through August, basically. And the same thing with haircuts, scissors, right? So if you need a new stylist or a new style, you'll have extra oomph for that through August and the first couple of days of September, tattoos, things like that, anything with the metal. If you have to put some legal, instigate legal proceedings against someone, even if you feel like you were wronged, that still is, from the astrological standpoint, an act of aggression, which is ruled by Mars. And there's more oomph and support when Mars is direct if you have to initiate legal proceedings. Now, if you're just responding to something and it's out of your hands, you got to do whatever you got to do. But if you're the one initiating something, Mars direct has much more support there. Okay, so now when we go into Mars retrograde, and obviously I'll be talking about this more as we're actually in that time, but I just want to kind of give you a heads up so you're understanding the flow and you can kind of position your projects and your planning accordingly. So Mars retrogrades basically from September 4th through March 15th, September 4th, 2022 to March 15th, 2023, and especially strong October 30th through January 18th. We're talking about going back to old things or just work as usual, anything that you've been having to do, although you might be a little more lazy and you might be less ambitious, things as usual, editing, light, low stakes projects, even if you want to do something new, but you're not attached to the outcome. And, the biggest thing here is to not take on anything that requires a titanic commitment and follow through, because the odds are that you're going to get lazy or busy or unambitious. And so committing or over promising is a very big, warning here. But anything where you're just kind of working in the backdrop, anything with reflections and self-development and therapy, individual, couple, family, is amazing. And along those lines, dealing with anger and resentment. A lot of times when people are chronically angry and resentful, even if you've done inner work, there could be something going on with your gallbladder and your liver. Now, obviously, I'm not a doctor. I'm not trying to diagnose anything. I'm just saying from the energetic standpoint, from doing thousands of live individual readings and doing horoscopes for a very long time and working with astrology medically for 20 years, I have seen when your liver and gallbladder are overburdened, a lot of times the way you are noticing that as a symptom is actually chronic anger and resentment. So if you've done inner work and you can't think of why you should be angry or resentful anymore, it's possible your gallbladder and liver need some work. And that those things may or may not show up on standard medical tests, okay? So you can do things to love your liver. Also, neurological things, Mars does additionally rule Aries, and also Mars is a co-ruler for Scorpio, so the sexual organs would be in here as well, or reproductive organs. All of those might have some things that are under the surface that need to be dealt with, either energetically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, or physically. This energy of stepping out of a victim mentality is very important, because a lot of times people feel resentful because they feel like something is happening to them. So just kind of exploring this topic. The same thing with reckless behaviors. I don't know that reckless behaviors are really a great idea anytime overall, either through your voice, like saying something to someone, or your deeds. But it's especially, you have to be especially careful with your head and your physical body. Oops, sorry about that. In your physical body, in Mars retrograde, and old injuries might, or issues might come up to be dealt with. It's a fantastic time for rest and staycations and vacations, enjoying the fruits of past labor, clearing up unfinished business on any level, whether it's in your yard or whether it's in your relationship. you know, all of these things are great for the retrograde. And I have even more resources. If you find my book, Planetology, How to Align with the Natural Rhythms of the Universe, it's actually in all major booksellers on the shelves, or you can get it online or at independent bookstores. I have my no-go checklist of, you know, how to make decisions in Mars retrograde and the questions to ask yourself, and plus a more detailed list of the direct versus retrograde energies. But I just wanted to give you a summary so that you can understand what kinds of things are good to do in August and before for your planning purposes, and what kind of things are good to table or sort of put in your planner for, you know, the last months of the year, September through December, and a little bit into 2023. You can also search for Annie Botticelli Mars retrograde to find a video that I've made on the topic, another video, and also I have a blog on the topic of Mars retrograde, and I also have a blog on general retrograde advice. Okay, so if you're wanting to prepare or get more information, then you can use those resources as well. And of course, you know, continue watching my monthly horoscopes as I will guide you through the rest of this direct process, and then all of the time we're in retrograde. Okay, so I've given you lots to work with to help you make the most of the energies this month and to help you understand the energetic patterns at work and play. And if you'd like more resources, I've got all of these here. You can additionally go to the little more button, the little arrow underneath the bottom right of the video, click on that, and all of the links that I'm giving you here will be clickable, right? So if you're looking for reading options, including a beautiful, very detailed 45-minute audio of your birth chart for $33 from my brilliant husband, you can find that at anniebclarity.com. You can go to anniehelpsyou.com, sign up for my free email newsletter. This is where you can access running a free birth chart. This is where you access my 28-day in-depth virtual coaching program called Shine for free. This is also where you'll find tons of blogs, and you get lots of other perks for being on my newsletter list. If you're looking for written horoscopes by me, always up a month early, you can go to cozybysweetstarlight.com. If you haven't seen this site, go to it. It is so beautiful. We've got, me and my team have lots of amazing astrology-inspired blogs and healthy living blogs. We've got hypnosis for all the signs. We've got healing frequencies for all the signs. I've got the written horoscopes that I write. We have yoga for all the signs. So it's just a very beautiful, comprehensive site. If you're looking for free courses on how to manifest money and wellness, you can go to lumlife.com, my school, Luminous Life Multiversity, LUMLIFE. You can also find my astrology education courses here, including my behemoth of a master course called Becoming a Professional Astrologer Mastery Course, which you can fully utilize even if you don't want to be a professional astrologer, but it certainly will get you up to the level where you could be and show you how to make your business a success. And payment plans are available there too. Now, I've also got 2 books out and more on the way. Planetology, How to Align with the Natural Rhythms of the Universe. You will find this on the bookshelves in all major booksellers, including all the Books A Million, all the Barnes & Nobles. It's right there on the shelf. Plus, you can get it on Amazon and through any independent bookseller. And you can find Radical Prayer on Amazon, and you can order it anywhere as well. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye!